Hello everyone, it's Patty B. Han here, and I want to thank you for watching me today. In this video, we're going to make this glitter gel birthday card, and for a little change of pace, I put the sentiment on the inside of the card. We're going to be using some Letter It stamps and stencils, and we're going to do some embossing, working on Wendy Vecchi's Make Art Station. So let's get started. And first I have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card, and I die cut a rectangle in the center, and I'm using a Sizzix Tim Holtz die set here, and the measurement for this is 2 1/8 by 1 5/8. So once that's done, we're ready to start. So let me get this out of the way. And we're going to start by embossing in the center of the card. I'm going to make a 50th birthday card, so I'll use the 50 and the TH. And you can make this for any age. That's the great thing about this. So once I get my stamps out, I'm going to place them in the center so I can see how they'll fit. And it just makes it. So now that I know where they need to land, I'm going to go ahead and stamp each number one at a time, because when you stamp them all together, the spacing isn't quite right. So I'm going to use the Letter It embossing ink pad, and I'll ink up the stamp. And I want to make sure I go right to the edge of the rectangle when I stamp it down, because it's just going to fit. So you can see where I stamped it right there. And now, working quickly, we're going to stamp the 0 and then the TH, and see, we just made it in there. So now I'm getting a piece of scrap paper, and we're going to do our embossing. So open up the card, and I'm using Ranger's Gold embossing powder, and I'm tapping it on the table so the powder falls to the bottom of the jar. We'll sprinkle it on there and remove the excess. And if you have any stray powder, you can just use a dry brush to wipe it off. Put the excess back into the jar, and then we're going to melt the powder. And this is my favorite part of card making, seeing the embossing powder melt. I think that's the coolest thing. Okay. So now that that's done, we let this cool down before we stamp our next sentiment. And I'm going to get it from the party stamp set, and we're going to use Happy and Birthday. And here again, we want to make sure we're going to place our stamps so that the Happy and the Birthday are hidden behind the window. So we'll move that up a little bit and stamp it there, and we'll ink this up. Put the powder on and remove the excess. And before we heat this up, we're going to stamp our birthday next. And we have to remember to put it underneath the window, pour the embossing powder over top, and then now we can melt it. Okay, and just look how beautiful that is. This gold is my favorite shade of gold of our many gold embossing powders. Okay, so now we're going to let that cool down a second, and I want to outline the letters because the glitter gels have a little fleck of this blue-green color, so I wanted to make that stand out and just give a little extra accent to the gold, so it's not just pure gold. And this is a Letterit metallic marker. And so we have that, and that looks good, just checking. Now I'm also going to put an accent of this marker around the rectangle, and you want to grab a straight edge and just go like 1/8 of an inch. You can make it a little thicker if you like, but I think it just needs that little bit is enough. And these metallic markers come in a set of 3, and I love the shine you get with them. Okay, one set's done. You can see how that looks. It just makes everything really pop. Now we're going to use our glitter gels. I'm using Supernova, and I'll grab the stencil here, and I want to protect the inside of our card, so I'm getting a piece of cardstock here, and just in case, I don't want the glitter gel to get on the inside. Score it good so that it protects the card here, and we're going to use the rulers and magnets for the station to really just anchor everything down. And we'll place our stencil centered over the card, and then place our magnets. And here I have the 7-inch magnetic ruler. That's a separate accessory you can get for the station, and the magnets are really nice and strong, so it'll hold your paper down really well. Okay, and now I have a palette knife to use our glitter gels. We're going to spread a thin coat, and we want to get full coverage through the holes in the stencil. So put the glitter gel on the back of the palette knife, and you'll notice it's a very thick consistency, and that's how it's supposed to look. And just fill in all the holes of the stencil. And I wanted to get a nice all over coverage. So sometimes if you just want a little bit of sparkle, you can use your finger to spread just a very light coat. But I wanted a full coat here. Okay, once that's done, you can remove your magnets carefully and then take off the stencil. And I have some water so that I can clean off the stencil quickly. We're going to let that dry, and I'm going to come back and show you how it looks. So here we have our finished card, and it's so sparkly and beautiful. And don't forget that you don't have to just make a 50th birthday card. You can make a card for someone of any age, and they'll be sure to love it. So if you'd like to make this card, we have a link to the full supply list in the description box below. And if you'd like to see more crafty videos, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.